Temitayo Ademola arrived at fellowship earlier than most people. He usually did. Not because anyone asked him to, but because it was easier that way. When the hall was quiet, when chairs were still stacked and the noise hadn't begun, he could think clearly. He could pray without interruption. He could prepare himself for the role he would play that evening. Responsibility sat naturally on him, the way breathing did. As the last born in a family of 6, people often assumed he had been spoiled. They were wrong. Being the child of pastors meant expectations followed him everywhere, spoken and unspoken. At home, leadership was taught early. Discipline wasn't enforced with anger, but with consistency. You represented more than yourself. By 300 level, Temi had learned how to carry that weight without complaint. He greeted people as they arrived, helped arrange chairs, checked the sound system, and spoke briefly with the fellowship president about the order of service. Nothing about the routine felt special to him. It was simply what needed to be done. During worship, he stood where he always did, close enough to assist if needed, far enough not to distract. He closed his eyes, focusing on the words of the song, asking God silently for steadiness. It was then that he noticed her. Not because she stood out, but because she didn't. She sat quietly beside another girl, her posture careful, her notebook open even during worship. She sang softly, barely moving, yet fully present. There was no restlessness in her, no performance. Temi glanced at her once, then again, trying to place her. A new member, he decided. First years usually carried that same cautious energy. He didn't approach her. He had learned long ago that attention carried consequences, especially when you were seen as a leader. He was careful about how people perceived him. Careful about how easily kindness could be misunderstood. After the service, as people mingled, Temi moved through the hall with polite familiarity. When he passed her, their eyes met briefly. She greeted him respectfully, her voice steady despite the slight surprise in her expression. He nodded and returned the greeting before moving on. It was nothing. Yet later, as he walked back to his room that night, he found himself thinking about it. About the way she listened. About the seriousness in her eyes that reminded him of people who carried more than they said. He shook the thought away. University was a season of focus. Ministry, academics, preparation. Distractions, even gentle ones, were not useful. Still, when he prayed before sleeping, her face surfaced briefly in his mind. He dismissed it just as quickly. There were things he was not ready for. And love, whatever form it might take, was one of them. For now, Temitayo Ademola had other priorities. And he intended to keep it that way.